We've taken up trains, the entire train. Like you have a toy train, now the entire train is ours. You can wrap the exterior, the interior advertising, gaming, So there is a rise in that. There is a lot of scope there. Because people would rather give up their social media, TV, than give up gaming. The first day that I sat in class surrounded by 50 plus CXOs, I had actually left a 6-month-old baby at home. So it was a tough decision, but that first day itself, I have to be honest, it was a life changer for me. There is no doubt about it.
Welcome to the Great Lakes podcast, a series where we have CXOs, entrepreneurs, and Great Lakes alumni. Our first guest is someone who is special to Great Lakes. She's been with Great Lakes for a while. She's been associated as a student, and today she's associated as an alumni with us. Dona Francis, the director of Red Maple Media. Welcome to the podcast, Dona.
Thank you, Yash. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to be here today.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
So my first question to you is about the industry you're in, right? It's a very interesting space, keeps changing all the time. So I'd like to ask you what made you, get into the advertising space, the industry already so crowded, people have been doing it for several years. And like I said, things have been changing. So what made you take that step to actually get into this industry? And you've been in it for about a decade now. So how was it then versus now?
Well, I don't know if there is a simple answer to it, but I think it's a culmination of various milestones in my life. I started my career in the tech industry as an SAP consultant, to spend a good part of 5 years there. Worked with Infosys, worked with Novartis in Switzerland, and that was the very early stages of my life. So it was a growing stage. So where I was and the people I was surrounded with taught me a lot. I was growing, it taught me a lot. But it also made me realize that I am a people person and I am creative, and something made me come out of the tech industry, returned to India, started working with kids in college. So I wanted to be a part of their journey and help them prepare themselves for what lies ahead in their career. So I spent almost 2 years, trained around 20,000 kids. It was phenomenal, very fulfilling. And that's when I got introduced into the advertising industry by my husband. So this company is actually started by my father-in-law and now run by my husband and his brother. And what's interesting about advertising is you get to work with a lot of clients, different expectations from each client. They have different demographics. We're working with them across multiple platforms. And with each client, it's a story. In Great Lakes, we call them case studies. But with each client, it's a success story. And it was so dynamic, I got hooked. And now a decade later, I'm sitting here as one of the partners.
So from all the insights you've shared so far, it's very evident that this industry keeps transforming, right? So can you share some insights on how it's transforming and probably some interesting stories that you've come across while working on campaigns over the last few years?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, beginning with my father-in-law, we've been in this industry for almost 3 decades. So he began with the very traditional form of advertising, which is newspaper and outdoor. And then, because the industry demands it, transitioning, we moved into TV, FM, then digital. Now, we know how digital has been transforming in the last few years, especially with the COVID lockdown. There's a surge in digital and the changes constantly changing. But what we have noticed in the last 2 years, 23, 24, moving to 25, there is a considerable increase in outdoor. So that's our OOH as well as digital outdoor boards. And
so there's been an increase in that.
It is increasing steadily, and next year is going to be a massive, relatively from 23 to now, it's going to be a massive change. And a lot of brands are becoming more aware of it, and they are shifting and increasing part of their budget into outdoor because it is local, it gets you the target audience, and it's right there. It's very easy to communicate with your target audience. And in fact, at Red Maple, we noticed this trend around 2021. And it was very important for us to have our own medium. to advertise our clients, and that's when we got into railway advertising. And what actually triggered it, if you ask me, is the Swachh Bharat campaign and the redevelopment of all the stations. We wanted to get into it. So we took up a lot of contracts with the Indian Railways. Currently, Red Maple is one of the largest agencies working with Indian Railway. We are direct contract holders. So what we do is we've taken up trains, the entire train. Like you have a toy train, now the entire train is ours. You can wrap the exterior, the interior advertising, stations, digital boards, and the normal outdoor boards, and the engines.
So you're going to make our trains look better than they already do right now.
And it's phenomenal because people love it. I mean, deep inside, when we see those attractive trains go by, the first thing you want to do is take a picture. Yeah, take a selfie and say, this passed us. And so many brands have come up to this idea. We've advertised for Ramraj Textiles, a lot of movies, Mamanan, We Care. A lot of clients want to get in on this trend, And my favorite campaign has to be, for the first time, I think 2 years ago, or was it last year, for the movie Vikram, Kamal Hassan's movie. So we worked with Raj Kamal Production and we hand painted the engines, multiple engines with, the entire engine was Kamal Hassan's face and the other parts of the movie. And these engines was how they launched the movie. So it created a stir. Everybody wanted to take selfies. They're putting it on Instagram. So cross talk is happening. Yeah. Now people were waiting to see the engines cross their stations and take selfies. So other than everything we spoke about, voice-based SEO searches. So currently what we see is we optimize websites and content for SEO searches, but with the rise of Alexa and other tools that are there in every home, it would be voice-based SEO searches. And thirdly, advertising in gaming, Okay. So there is a rise in that. There is a lot of scope there because people would rather give up their social media, TV than give up gaming. Yeah. So there is a rise there, and the things that work on a gaming platform are now being implemented across other apps. Be it reward-based advertising where people are forced to watch the ad and then they get certain, you unlock certain apps. So that is on a rise, advertising on gaming apps.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting insight, and that's something that brands and content creators, not just advertisers, should really look out for. All the articles we've been reading over the last few years, rather, right, have always spoken about, out of home dying, out of home being used much less right now. But I think the insights you've shared, talk about a totally, completely different picture. And is this only for, products that say the masses use or something that is for the masses, like maybe a movie or something like that? Or do you even see companies who have, maybe niche products, right, do something like this? Have you noticed a trend there?
Yeah, so yes, it depends on the product because you need to understand who the target segment is and put it in the right place. Like imagine our latest campaign, in fact, was for a taxi company. Now you'd wonder, it's a taxi company, what business is it and where do they put it? Because their cabs, where do they run? So we put their ads for a train that's running from Chennai to Coimbatore. In a day, we generated 700 bookings for them. So that's the kind of ROI that thrills the customer and it excites us because, it's so amazing to use the opportunities you have to create the right kind of ROI for the client.
Absolutely. So it's good to know that, the outdoor space is still booming and, in fact, bigger than it ever was.
So it's all about how to make it work cross-platform because now people need to connect with the brand at any step point they get. It's not just about the phone. You need to have a consistent brand language. You need to connect with the right kind of audience to create that conversion and to speak to them and, and let them know we are here, we understand you, and we're right here. In fact, talking about niche product, We Care, We Care, right? Yeah. They do all kinds of massive, they advertise on trains. So they did it for almost a year, exterior and interior of a massive double decker. So you can imagine the kind of funds they are investing because they need that eyeball, they need that conversion, and it worked for them. It was a successful campaign.
So Dona, you've shared some fantastic insights with us about your industry, right? But coming back to education as an industry, right? You've pursued the PGPXPM program, which is the executive MBA equivalent with Great Lakes in 2018, right? And you've graduated from that. So you've worked in the industry before that, as well as after you finished the program. So how important do you think it is for a mid-senior level professional to stay up to date with the trend of education and have an executive MBA or a professional degree certificate with them while they actually are working?
So when I applied for PGPXPM at Great Lakes, it was just a hope. And once I got in, it was like a dream come true. But I was at a very precarious stage of my life. But my family really pushed me to go ahead with it. The first day that I sat in class surrounded by 50 plus CXOs, I had actually left a 6-month-old baby at home. So it was a tough decision. But that first day itself, I have to be honest, it was a life changer for me. There is no doubt about it. Uncle Bala and Professor Veeravalli walking in, being surrounded by these CXOs, I knew that I made the right decision because these people who were surrounding me, the CXOs, my peers, who are now my friends for life, they have accomplished so much in life already when they were sitting in the classroom. So it really humbled me. I was one of the youngest two in the class at that time, and watching these people, it encouraged me that and taught me that there's never a period where you stop learning. You've got to keep yourself open. You have to keep wanting to improve your life. You have to put in that time and effort, and only that gives you the results you need. And even when it comes to projects, doing projects or any of these assignments that PG XPM involves, I was in a batch of 6 or 7 other students. They all get in their unique perspective to it as a leader, as a manager, or a VP of a company. And at that point in my time, I was just getting into the business world. So for me, I was just sucking it in like a leech, or everything that they had, this industry experience, how to talk to people, how to engage with people, how to get a project done. So the learning for me was massive, just from my peers itself. And they continue to inspire me even now. And when I talk about my teachers, well, see, any business, in fact, and especially advertising, it's all about planning it, strategizing where you want to go as a company, strategizing what your client wants to reach. So, without doubt, every step of my day is inspired, motivated, and it's knowledge that I've learned from the likes of Uncle Bala. And beginning with his managerial accounting. I hope you don't mind that I'm going to be, so specific. But his managerial accounting, which I link to, is very much linked to operations management, where he teaches us that for creating success, you really have to cut the business open, look at the smallest unit that you can measure. It could be my performance, it could be my partners, my teams, my client's project, but you really have to break it down to the smallest unit, figure out where are your losses, where are your profits, and then build up. So that has always kept me tuned to that. Track your units, track every unit that you're trying to change and build it up. Implement stuff, work on it, improve it, but make sure that you're tracking the right thing. And what about behavioral, organizational behavior, and human resource management, marketing management? Professor John's operation thinking, my gosh, he was my mentor for the 2 years, and I cannot tell you the number of times I have called him or met him on campus, and talking to him about every small idea. And he would give me, and like I would talk hours, like as you can see now, and he would give me such a simple answer. It'll be the simplest answer in one line. Did you look at it that way? And it used to blow my mind, because here I am trying to implement different projects and trying to learn, implement the learning. But his experience puts everything into perspective. So I was so blessed to have him on my side. And even now, when I think of the naive way I used to approach a project and how he refined it, how he taught me that, okay, look at the bigger picture. It's not about the package in front of you. It's about where it goes and what does it do. Is it really worth it? Are you spending your time at the right place? So it deeply motivated me.
Absolutely. I think, what you've touched upon is basically unlike your conventional MBAs, right? In an executive MBA, yes, you do need that whole recovery of theory that's there, right? Because you've studied it way back, when you did your master's or your undergrad or something like that. And then when you come back to an exec MBA, that's just a refresh. But then it's actually what you can apply in the real world, right? Your projects, your assignments, and I think that's what you've said had also helped you with the peer learning aspect of.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you must have seen how meticulous Professor Veeravalli is. And one key thing that I have learned from him, which I tell my team as well, is always separate the people from the problem. You've got to look at it the right way. So for us as an agency, it's all about the people. We stick to that. And I have felt in many ways the learnings have reflected in the way I handle my team as well. And I think it has impacted me immensely, whatever I've learned, especially personally for me, now that I handle finance of almost 4 of our businesses. Not many business owners understand the impact financial management does. Because they always outsource it or there's a staff. But somebody needs to be in there understanding how your decisions or your strategic moves impact your finances. So it has molded me.
So, Donna, you've told us so much about the advertising industry, and now I know a lot more about it than I did about half an hour ago. But what advice would you like to give somebody who's looking at moving to, say, a corner office or a leadership role, someone from a mid-senior level, looking at transitioning into some of these roles? How can you sort of help them, or what would you like to tell them?
Well, in a sentence, go for it. Just go for it. Because the kind of things that I was worried about was how would I manage my time. And when I joined, I had a 6-month-old at home, and I was new to the business. So I had so many commitments on my head. And the chaos of life is generally always there. But when you commit to learning and when you commit to growing, you have to take the first step. And I myself personally reached this particular stage in my life, I would say, because of 2 mantras I firmly believe in, and which I also implement when it comes to my circle of influence. One is, it takes a village to make a person grow. And secondly, you have to be ready. And when you're ready, the teacher arrives. So for both these cases, I feel the most important thing is open yourself up to investing in yourself. Take that step into PGXPM. When you reach there, you will find yourself in the midst of so much wealth of knowledge that there is no regrets. The next thing that you can do is identify your weaknesses and your strengths, because being part of the executive program, you not only upscale, but you transform. Like the friends I have made through my PGXPM program are my connections for life. And some of them have started their own businesses and are excited at all the knowledge that we share with each other, because we learn from each other. And some of them, even though not yet, but they are looking forward to it.